Thank you and good morning. My name is Chris Thatcher. I'm the president and CEO of Noxilizer. I've been with the company for about a year. Today, the current status is the sterilization technologies have not kept up with product innovation until today. Noxilizer introduced the first new sterilization technology for medical products in nearly 2 decades. The space is about $3.6 billion. The sterilization market grows in tandem with the medical product space, growing about 6% a year. There are 40 billion products, individual SKUs sterilized in the United States every day, from a syringe to a pacemaker. That market's broken out into 3 segments. About $3 billion of that $3.6 billion is in contract sterilization. That is the final process before the product is put into a package. Anything that goes into a Tyvek pouch is contract sterilized, of which most of it's in medical device, followed by pharmaceuticals, and then you have about $600 million in lab services. And this is the process that determines your bespoke sterilization process for your individual product. Most of this revenues is coming from the United States and Europe, about 70% between the two of them. Now, there's no perfect sterilization technology out there. It's pretty much determined based on the material or the product design. But what is new is that the leading technologies are no longer sustainable. The EPA conducted a 5-year study in the United States and determined that ETO, the leading sterilization technology, causes cancer in patients, causes cancers in employees at ETO facilities and in communities surrounding those facilities. This is constraining demand. There are only 95 plants in the United States that do ETO, of which 10 have closed in the last 3 years. 2 have declared bankruptcy yet this year. So there's 20 billion SKUs constrained right now, and prices are increasing with ETO because of the remediation costs imposed by the EPA at those facilities. The second most commonly performed sterilization technology is gamma radiation. Gamma radiation uses cobalt-60. Cobalt-60, the primary source is Russia and China. The United States has not produced any more nuclear power plants, and there are no new gamma radiation plants planned. So this headwind for these 2 technologies is my tailwind. We participate in the high-value, high-margin segment. It runs from scalpels to high-technology bioelectrics and biologics. This space that we're most focused on has been price agnostic up until this point in time. This is the biologic space. This is where we're most differentiated. On the left is everything that's in the pipeline for biologics, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Biologic represent nearly 1/3 of the FDA approvals, not going away anytime soon. And they also deliver greater than 50% of the total dollars in the pharmaceutical space. In the middle of the slide, there's another story going on, which is many of the biologics are coming off patent. There's a patent right now in ophthalmology with a company called Regeneron that represents a $10 billion product, where there's 10 new companies coming in there producing their own biosimilars that need sterilization technology. The leader in that space at Dow 30 was just approved with our technology this past August. And then there's rise to combination devices. These are auto-injectors that are very complicated, that need a very specific sterilization technology to sterilize that auto-injector for self-injection at home, but at the same time not disrupting the active ingredient inside of it. Here is our differentiation. On the left-hand side, sterilization is just a chemistry project meeting a biologic study. And you adjust these parameters on the left-hand side. Very simply, a biologic is made up of a group of proteins. Proteins don't like radiation. So all of the technology that's sterilized using radiation will degrade a protein. Proteins don't like high temperatures. 2 of the competitors in this space operate at a high temperature. And then the last and final thing is the pressure is adjusted during the sterilization technology phase, and that pressure changes can cause ingress of the active sterilant into the active ingredient, cross-contaminating it. So what we do is nitrous dioxide is a non-carcinogenic. We operate at ambient temperatures, so it doesn't degrade the biologics. And we operate at low pressure differentials, which doesn't cause ingress and cross-contamination of the biologics in the syringe. I've been a president or CEO of a medical device company for the past 20 years, launched tens of products, and the FDA EMEA, CE marks have been, and reimbursement have been the bane in my life for the most part. Finally, I have the FDA and regulatory authorities creating a moat for me. So the way this works is you get, if you're a medical device manufacturer, you get approved with our sterilization technology, which is proprietary to us, that process, and you are approved with that process with our system, a specific system at a specific location. Should you change any of that, you have to go back and refile. This is an incredibly sticky space where customer retention is greater than 95% over 10 years. This is how we work with customers. On the left-hand side, we've been working in our lab to refine our process. Basically, it starts with what's called a simple test and return. You send us your device or your product, and we expose it to NO2. And then you look and see if the material characteristics change. If they haven't, then you send us back a more final product, and we determine if we can sterilize the most complex components and locations and geometries within that. That's called a feasibility study. Then before you go for your regulatory filing, you do a mock validation versus a full-blown validation, kind of a test trial or practice. And then from there, we also sterilize. If it's a drug, we do sterilization between phase 2 and phase 3 as a service. And then at that point in time, you usually buy a sterilizer and you place it somewhere else. You do your mock validation, you do your validation on site there. We support you technically through consulting. And then you buy the system and it produces consumables, and a contract sterilizer facility makes about $5 million off that sterilizer. On the right-hand side, these are the top 20 who's who in medical device and pharmaceutical products in our pipeline at the moment. We have 1 FDA-cleared product today, 3 that have filed, that are pending for yet this year. Last year, we did $8 million in sales across these 4 different product categories. My CFO called me, said you need to change the number from 75 to 80. 80% of our revenues are committed. We're growing 50% year over year from 24 to 25. Why is that? We are now pivoting from the razor to the razor blades. The system is up and running with a Dow 30 company. I can't say the name, but they're running 7 days a week with our system, trying to get product into the marketplace. And then the second thing is the space is constrained, right? ETO is constrained, gamma doesn't work, people are backlogged, we're already contracted into 2026. So right now, what happens is you buy a sterilizer, you can put it at your facility, or you can put it at a third-party facility to do contract sterilization. We want to change that. We want to change that. You can now stay with Noxilizer. Who better? We just spent 3 to 5 years together as an extension of your R&D team, having launched many, many products in large companies. Transfer to manufacturing is usually a challenge. Why go take on that risk? Here's our revenue. We're expected to grow 40% over the next 5 years. We're growing 50% this year. I've been a CEO and startup CEO. I don't know how many times I've ever had to say we're growing 50%. It feels pretty darn good, so I'll say it twice. And you can see here we're about break even right now. The company's been running break even. We're done with break even. We need capital to grow this business right now. And then we're going to add contract sterilization into the business. Contract sterilization, we're a typical med device company. We sell a big box for $2.2 million at 50+% gross margin, consumables at 70, average 65. Sounds familiar to everyone in the room. And then contract sterilization margins is north of 80%. So you can see in 3 short years, we are, and this is just converting our current customer pipeline, no additional customers in our pipeline. We're approaching 35% return on sales in 3 years. Need $10 million to fuel this. Happy to talk to you more about what's involved on this. I'm an operator. I've done things like this before. I'm really excited about this race. But we need $10 million just to fuel the current growth that we have within the pipeline, plus adding that additional service of contract sterilization. Unlike many of my colleagues here at this meeting, this is technology de-risk, design history files on hand with the FDA, and that's what someone, if they were filing with our technology, would access. We already have an FDA clearance. We have 4 systems in the field. We have a supply chain, a robust supply chain. We've de-risked all of that. And when I think of business risk, everyone's doing a net present value, trying to discount what I just said. I would say from a business standpoint, this is really a logistic operational pivot by adding contract sterilization into this company. The number one objection I think most startups have is that the number one objection is who's using it, and we've overcome that objection. So closing out, Of course, we have a bunch of patents. We have a lot of, several others we're filing. I have a really good team, and thank God they're a lot smarter than me. And I will be here until Thursday and have time Wednesday if you'd like to chat more. Thanks again for getting up early and learn a little bit more about Noxilizer. Have a good show.